lot of destinations that will boast they've got hidden gems. Okay, that's well and good. But then there are some countries that are entirely hidden gems, and Malta is one of those. A series of islands in the Mediterranean, it's one of the smallest countries in the world, and yet it's packed full of surprises. Let me show you some of my hidden gems of Malta. Because of its strategic location just 50 miles south of Sicily, Malta has been conquered by one world power after another, from the Romans to the British. Over the centuries, each empire brought its own traditions, including food, art, and religion, which you can still find all across the island. Even though it's just a tiny dot in the Mediterranean, Malta does have its fair share of surprises. Try this one on for size. 365 Roman Catholic churches. That's one for every day of the year. That's more Roman Catholic churches per capita than any other country in the world. Are you impressed? Well, I'm not, because I don't go to destinations to hang out at churches. But in Malta, I make an exception. It's called St. John's Co-Cathedral. Look behind me. Not particularly impressive, right? Well, maybe that was intentional. But once you go inside, trust me, you're going to be there a while. The church was built in the late 16th century by the Knights of Malta, a Catholic military order dedicated to St. John the Baptist. Cynthia DiGiorgio is the church's curator and chief executive. When you walk in here, it's truly an assault on your senses, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is absolutely overwhelming, simply because of the amount of gold leaf that was applied to the surfaces. All the surfaces are carved in situ and then covered with 24-karat gold leaf.
And once you're inside, take your time. You're surrounded by more than 400 years of real history. Look up, look out, look left, look right. Every square inch of space is taken up by a piece of art that tells a story. And then whatever you do, always look down. These ornately inlaid pieces of marble also tell a story, 400 of them, because they represent the final resting spaces of 400 Knights of Malta.
The floor is certainly one of the most beautiful, unique floors in the world, because it's covered by 400 inlaid marble tombstones. And they're also decorated with some of the most beautiful Baroque symbols that you can imagine.
But once they come in and the visitors see all the gold, what's the next surprise for them?
The next surprise for them is the Caravaggio, of course, in the oratory. The painting, the beheading of the patron saint, St. John the Baptist, is the largest and one of his most important paintings, if not the most important painting that he ever produced.
He was hired to paint it right here in Malta, while on the run from murder charges in Rome. The overseers of St. John's Co-Cathedral knew a master artist when they saw one, even if he happened to be a murder suspect. But that's just one story from within a church that's full of thousands of them. And those stories continue outside and extend far beyond Malta's main island. If you really want to see Malta a different way, where the tourists don't really go, you come up here to the most northern part of the island, in Malta Bay. You start your journey on one of these. And next stop, the island of Gozo. Gozo is the second largest of Malta's 7 islands, but with fewer than 40,000 inhabitants, it's got a small town feel. And once you get to Gozo, you dump the jet ski and get on one of these. It's a more traditional island boat called a fregatina to take you around the island and to one particular place, the Blue Window. This spectacular limestone formation was created after 2 sea caves collapsed, leaving a massive arch that rises nearly 100 feet in the air. You may have seen it in movies and TV shows, from The Count of Monte Cristo to Game of Thrones. But there's much more to Gozo than its famed Blue Window. One of the great secrets of Malta is when you head up, above the water, to one of the wineries. Okay, they've got grapes, but now you gotta go above the grapes to the olives. Gozo's dry, hot climate and steady breeze are the perfect conditions for cultivating olives. Just ask Joseph Spiteri. He's been doing it for years, but he uses just a small portion of the oil he extracts.
We get 10 to 12% only. If you say this in front of, for example, large producers, they would say it's a waste. But if you want to get the real extra virgin olive oil, that's how the yield should be.
The claim is that the oil from Joseph's farm is so pure, you can pour yourself a glass, warm it up, and drink it down.
Cheers. When you taste it, if it's the real thing, it's very pleasant on the palate. I mean, you taste it as you taste wine, you know?
You can also use it as a moisturizer. But of course, the best way to experience the oil is to cook with it. Well, you've heard of farm to table. Well, we've got the farm, we've got the table, but there's one better. We got the chef. Hey, George Burge, how are you?
Hi.
George Burge is the author of the Gozo table. He's an expert on Maltese cuisine, and whether it's rabbit or fish, and this will come as no surprise, he loves to cook with olive oil.
That's a lot of olive oil.
But it's good.
Of course it's good.
And plenty of local wine.
So we just have to pour it in.
Use the whole bottle.
Yeah, of course.
Wow.
We have a drunken rabbit.
Drunken rabbit indeed.
Woo!
This fish is spitting at me.
And now it's all about herbs. Nice Mediterranean herbs, huh?
Woo, it's hot. Ready?
Aha!
Ready?
Yes, of course, it's ready.
Time to eat?
Time to eat.
Time to eat.
Local rabbit, local fish, cooked up with all local ingredients. What more could you ask for?
Nice, huh? Love the smell.
One of the great things about Malta is its size. At about 120 square miles, the island's rich heritage is always just a short car ride away. If you're looking to find history in Malta, there's one really cool way to do it. In style, in a 1948 Jaguar convertible. Alfred Pisani is the man who knows. He grew up on the island and is passionate about old cars.
One of the cool things about Malta is you got so many vintage cars here.
There are quite a few people who are, interested in this. They buy from the States, from England, from Europe. That's quite a collection, yeah.
We're heading up north to Mdina. Once the capital of Malta, this ancient walled city is home to just a few hundred people today. It's often called the Silent City.
What always amazes me about Mdina is how quiet it is.
Very.
And why is that, do you think?
Well, the majority of the houses are very big, and so there are very few people living here. So there's a lot of space taken up by big mansions, which probably are inhabited by a family of four. And look at this, this is something very special. And you're always getting this kind of semicircular arrangement for the roads, so that if the foe manage to get over and you're running away, you got protection if you are far away, because the bullets don't go round, or whatever it is they were shooting.
For centuries, Malta has been fought over and settled by almost every world power. And here in Mdina, and all across the country, you can see that history around every corner. 6 o'clock, time to head back.
Peter, this is Cathedral Square. And you know what, when I was a kid, I was dragged for confessions once a week.
Really?
Really. Do you have anything to confess?
Yeah, I'd like to come back.